the handy dandy Excel spreadsheet, and I'm going to go ahead and move us into 3.1 through 3.3. Now, 2.3, a lot of you say, well, what happened to 2.3, Hubert? Well, 2.3 is reading, so write that down. 2.3, you need to read. It's all on how unethical people can be with statistics. There's not a math problem in 2.3. It's all reading. So make sure you read that. Everybody at the, those teaming in, am I breaking up at all, or is it pretty clear?
It's good.
It's pretty clear.
Okay, let me know if it starts breaking up, because last class, I found out that I don't think this computer was muted it right before this class. So let me know if you hear me breaking up, and if it's systematic. In other words, if there's a certain amount of time and then it breaks up, because that's what it was doing in the last class. All right, so what are we going to do? Well, I'm going to start with a new spreadsheet, because it kind of defeats the purpose when I show you, So I'm going to start with a new spreadsheet. Now, why do I use the spreadsheet? Because everybody's supposed to master the spreadsheet. No. The reason I use the spreadsheet is so I can get everything on one board. So I want you to make a mental note of that and write that in your notes. I use the Excel spreadsheet so I can get everything on one board. Now, why am I telling you to write that down? Because some of y'all think that I want y'all to learn the Excel spreadsheet. That is not true at all. I could care less if you learn the Excel. Anybody tell me why it's a good thing?
You can fit it all on one board.
No, you don't have a board. Whoever said that? Okay, you don't have a board at home. Why is it pretty much?
Because you'll use it in business.
You use it in the real world. I think probably beside PowerPoint and Publisher, because they're kind of like tied for second, Excel is the most used in any occupation there is. Any. Okay? There he is. You didn't go upstairs, did you?
I definitely.
Y'all are going to have to start what? Y'all going to have to start checking your emails. Okay? If it hadn't been for her, some of y'all would still be sitting up there looking out the window. Okay? And thank you for writing that on the board up there. I appreciate it. Yeah. All right, but anyway, we just started, and you have to tell me your last name, and I'll get your attendance afterwards, because the attendance tracker needs it. All right, so we'll start off with an odd number, 13. So here's our X, and we're going to use like ages. So write these numbers down. Now, what I want you to do, I'm going to write down a list of things, and I want you to be able to do those things. Most of you will be able to do them because you've had probability and statistics before, and you've had to figure your grade in a class before. So most of you are going to be able to do some of this stuff, but some of it you may not be able to do. So we're going to go with 17, 18, 18, 18, 19, 20, 21, 21, 22, 24, and 25. Let's see how many that is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's good. And I'm OCD about centralized, so I got to make it central. Everybody in here to be able, and I'm showing you 3.1 through 3.3, the mean, the median, mode, range, oops, I can't spell, range, mid-range, variance, and standard deviation. So I want everybody to take a minute, and I want you to do all you can by hand. Now, I don't want you, I could teach a 5-year-old how to use a calculator. Now, you can use your calculator to add those numbers up and do all that. But don't use your calculator and hit math and go to probability and go to first variable statistics like you were coached in high school. Okay, that's not what I want you to do. I want you to use your homemaker calculator. You don't need the scientific one. Okay, and use your regular calculator just to add those up and divide by 13, because y'all all know how to do that because you figured your test grades before. So go ahead and do that. If you know what the mean, median, mode, range, mid-range, variance, standard deviations, knock it all out. I'll give you a minute or two to do that.
What is the 13 for?
N is equal to 13. That's for later. Miss Dennis looks like she's in the bottom of a barrel. Why do you look like you're in the bottom of a barrel? Doesn't she look like she's in the bottom of a barrel?
I text you. Read it.
Oh, she's the one blowing. I'm in jail, and they won't let anybody see me. That's what it says. Good gracious, Miss, I can't believe they threw her in jail. Oh my goodness. Memory care unit. Is that for people with head trauma? She's not talking to me. That's okay. Oh, Alzheimer's. Well, okay. So, like I said, most of y'all know how to find the mean, right? How do you find the mean? You add up all the numbers and you divide by what? N, which is 3. So everybody should get that number right there. Now, I want you, and I'm going to see if this works because they're supposed to have my whiteboard working. But it wasn't working this morning. And it's working. It was, I know what it was now. It hadn't been booted up in umpteen weeks. I always tell students, and I write this in red, carry all calculations to at least 4 decimal places. And the rule with statistics, always round when? At the end. When you're fixing to type in an answer, that's when you round.
You kind of broke up at the end. Would you mind repeating that?
Whenever you type in the answer, in other words, right before you type in the answer, that's when you round. You don't round, let's see, mean is 17.15. I'm going to round that to 17.2. You do not do that in statistics. Okay? And am I breaking up just with you, or am I breaking up with other people?
Me too.
Me too. It's like the end of every minute.
That's what the previous class said. Okay, I'm gonna have to. You know, it's pretty bad when your teachers home setup is better than the room setup, isn't it? I'll have to. Every minute it cuts out for like 5 seconds.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I will email them. Okay. Median.
Question.
Yes, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I didn't get that for the meeting, and I kept doing it over.
Okay, well, let me check.
For the meeting.
Okay,
I got.
hold on. I don't need to know. Hold on. Let me make sure I copied everything. I did everything the way I was supposed to. Divided by 13.
Was it 11?
I thought we were dealing with 13. I suck. Okay, then I'll just change that to 11. Check that now. Is that good?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. I think I had 13 in my brain from the last class. Median. Now, let's write this down for the median. If it red, because you need to highlight it. For the median, if n is odd, can y'all see what I'm writing at home?
Yes.
Okay. If n is odd, then you pick the middle, no coughing in class or sneezing. Pick the middle number. So if n is odd, which it is, you pick the middle number, which the middle number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, is 20. What if n is even? I'm so glad the whiteboard works. Wasn't working the first 2 weeks of class. If n
Take the two
is
numbers that
even,
are
you find the 2 middle numbers. Okay, so if n is odd, you're going to find the middle number. If n is even, you're going to find the 2 middle numbers and divide by 2. Add them together and divide by 2. So in this case, when n is odd, we're just going to find the middle number, and the middle number is 20. So I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to hit 20. And it's not supposed to erase whenever I hit the mouse. I don't know why it's doing that. So I'm sorry about that. And there it is. There's the middle number, and that's going to equal right there. So the median is equal to 20. Can somebody tell me what the mode stands for? Stands for mo and most. That's all you got to write. Mo and most. And which one shows up the most? 18. Can you have more than one? Yes. That's called monomodal. I mean, one is called monomodal. What is two? Now y'all put your brains together. What do you think 2 is called? Bimodal. 3, trimodal, and anything above 3 is called polymodal. Out of all the things that we're calculating, which one is the least needed? Or has the least importance, the mode? There's no mathematical, I guess they just wanted to have something else. You know, like I said, whoever came up with statistics a long time ago, evidently they couldn't be a mathematician because they just started making really serve any purpose except for the number that shows up the most. Okay, I'm really not a big fan of the mode, so, I mean, range, somewhat needed, equals to the highest minus the what? The lowest. And the mid-range, just like the midpoint, and just like when you average the two in the middle, you add the two, the highest and the lowest, and divide by what? 2. So the mid-range, you take the highest number plus the lowest number, and you add those two together and divide by 2.
Can you say that again?
The mid-range, you take the highest number and the lowest number,
Take
So,
the highest number and the
right
lowest
quick,
number.
hold on a second. Right quick, I'm gonna go through everything. The mean, that's not right. Now why in the hell did it just do that? I didn't touch anything on that board and it went to draw. I'm not drawing using the Excel spreadsheet. I'm sorry, I'm getting irritated because this computer is still not right. And I'm getting to the point to where I just don't think it's going to be right. Home. And I should be able to use, now it's not going to work at all. After that draw comes on, yeah, there it goes. Mean is now we just did that. We added them all together and divided by what? By 11. Median. Median, if it's odd, you just pick the middle number. Pick middle term. Okay, I'm abbreviating, but I've already gave you these definitions. If it's even, you find the two middle numbers, you add the two middle numbers, middle terms, and divide by 2. Mode shows up the most. Mode shows up the most. Range is equal to the highest minus the lowest. And mid-range go ahead and break my neck. Hopefully y'all wouldn't laugh too hard. Now I know, I'm starting to see why Tri-County teachers do not use technology. Well, sometimes I believe the way it's set up, it's more trouble than it's worth. Just like that thing was in the middle of the dadgum floor. Where is it supposed to be? What do y'all think that's supposed to be? Where would you think, common sense wise, where all that needs to be? Y'all see all that dead space in the corner right there? Where all the plates are right there for the utilities? That's where it's supposed to be. Oh, you got to know the dadgum formula for the variance. Now, you're going to have to read the formula because I'm not going to tell you how to do it. Because you need to learn how to read formulas. The formula for the variance. And after we do all these, I'm going to show you what everything means. Variance is equal to the summation of x minus x bar squared over n minus 1. Now, what do I mean by being able to read formula? Well, what have you learned since, I don't know, 5th, 6th, 7th grade? When you work with parentheses, how do you work with parentheses and exponents and things like that? You do what's inside the parentheses first, right? Then you do what?
Exponent.
Add them all up. That's what that funky E looks like, means. That means add them all up. Now, I'm going to show you how to do it by hand, so that way you'll always know how to do it. So read the formula, x minus x bar. So what is x bar? The mean, the average, yes. So I'm going to subtract the mean from every one of my x's. Now is when you're supposed to go, what x's? Well, the only thing that has x on it, these right here. So I'm going to call this column x minus x bar. Now, I'm doing everything in columns, so that way you'll understand, okay? And of course, my formula just disappeared. I don't know why it disappears. It just disappears. There it is. Room for 3 years. Not had any problems. They put that new computer in, and hopefully by the end of the semester we'll have it fixed. All right, so I'm going to take 20, this is x bar right here. That's x bar. So I'm going to take 20.27 blah, 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 and I'm going to subtract it from each of my x's. That's what it means, x minus x bar. X minus x bar. Now, why am I spending so much time saying x minus x bar? Because I'm trying to get you to read the formula that keeps disappearing. So, equals 17 minus x bar. And for those of you that know Excel, I'm going to hit F4 to lock it. Those that don't, unless you want to write all of them, so you'll know what you did, you know, for homework. I mean, when you look at it, because I don't know how many of you know how to do this or not, okay? I'm teaching to the person that's never done it before. Okay, somebody read the formula and tell me, what am I going to do after that? I just did what's inside the parentheses. Now what am I going to do? I'm going to square it, because you do exponents next. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Please excuse. I did the parentheses. Now I'm going to do the exponent. So I'm going to take x minus x bar. I'm going to take that number, and I'm going to I want you to do that. Take your calculators, and I want you to take those numbers. Take the first. If you wrote the first, the middle, and the last, just do them. You don't have to write every single one of them down unless you just want to. And I want you to square those. Raise it to the second power so you make sure you know what you're doing on your calculator. So equals this guy raised to the what? Second power. Now, like I said, if you don't read the formula, you ain't gonna know what to do. X minus x bar. 20.27273. And I'm going to do that to each one of my x's. So your column in your notebook is going to have those numbers in it. Then what, Hubert? Well, then you're going to take, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Because I'm such a animated teacher. I'm going to color that yellow. And that is right here. And then I'm going to color trying to do this with the mouse is just about impossible. So that right there with the square is right here. You've got to read the formula. I get so many students, and I teach a lot of 120s, and this semester I'm teaching 4, technically, because in my 103, I'm teaching this same thing in 103. All right? I put that formula right there. And I'll say, okay, what does the formula say? What formula? They're not reading the formula. Read the formula. Now, somebody tell me what that funky E means. I just told you a few minutes ago. You're going to what?
Together.
You're going to add them all up. Yes. That funky E right there means I'm going to add them all up. And that's going to be that number right there. So I'm going to take my handy dandy summation. I got to find out why it's doing that. And I'm going to hit the summation symbol right there for those Excel people. And hit enter. I do this so much better at home. There. So 68. Well, it's not going to work, I don't think. Nope. Now, watch this. I hit the whiteboard. This is how I get it to work. I hit the whiteboard. Then I hit transparency. Now it'll work. So, variance is equal to 68.18182 divided by, and what does the formula say we put on the bottom?
And
What is that? Which is? Where'd you get the 10 from? And I will not tell them. Why? Because what are they not doing? They're not reading the formula. Now, do not use a calculator. What do you do when you divide by 10? Move the decimal to the place one to the left. So your answer is 6.818 blah, blah, blah. 6.818182. And that is your variance. Now, I really don't care about the variance, but can somebody tell me in here, why do I need the variance? Well, Hubert, you just said you don't care about it. Yeah, but why do we need it? Does anybody know the relationship between the variance and the standard deviation? Anybody? Come on, some of you high school probability and statistics people. Don't remember?
I have a question.
Yes.
So you got the 68.18, the stuff you highlighted in green. Like, did you add all the?
Add all of those up right there.
Okay, so you're finding this for like the whole group of numbers or each individual one? Each individual, like.
This is for the whole group. This is the variance for all of these numbers right here.
Okay.
All of them.
So I'm sorry, I didn't take high school.
That's all right.
So you take the yellow stuff, the X, and you
Square
square it, okay, so then you add all of that
it.
up.
And add all up.
So you do the first part individually, the individual numbers, and then after you do.
You gotta do what's inside the parentheses first.
And then you add all of that.
Then you square it.
Okay.
Then you add them up. Your law of mathematics. Please do what's inside the parentheses. Excuse exponent. And then there's no multiplication, there's no division, addition. You add all of them up. So in the numerator, there's 3 rules. Please, excuse, and aunt. Please excuse my dear aunt. You got to add them all up. And you do them in that order. And then you divide by 10. Now, I'm going to show you the relationship between the variance and the standard deviation. And all of this is on my test, and they will be on any standardized test you take, because anybody is going to want you to know how to find all these things. And here we go. Let's write it down, and this is very important for you to know. The square root of the variance the variance.
I'm gonna need you to repeat that because you keep breaking up.
Okay, I just wrote it on the board. Do you see it in red? Do you see it, Miss Dennis? It's in red. Do you see it?
Yes.
The reason I'm asking you, I want to make sure that everybody can see it, because the way this board is acting, I don't know if you can see it or not until you tell me. Okay? The square root of the variance is equal to the standard deviation. And if I give you the standard deviation on a test, like a standardized test, and I say the standard deviation of this set of data is 26, what is the variance? Then you're going to raise that 26 to the second power, and that's your variance. If they say the standard deviation is equal to 5, and they want the variance, here's an example. The standard deviation is 5. They give you that on a test. And they want the variance. What's the variance? 25. If they give you the variance is equal to 36, and they want to know the standard deviation, what's the standard deviation? 6. That's very important for you to remember, not only for this work, but for standardized testing. So somebody tell me, what am I going to do with to get the standard deviation? I'm going to take the square root of what? Mm-hmm. I have to turn the mouse on and see. All right, so now here's the 3 ways that you can take the square root of a number. In your calculator, you can take the square root of, okay, it's decided I can't write with the stylus no more. So you can take the square root of a number. Now I want somebody to tell me, what did I hit to make it jump to not work anymore? I don't know. I don't know what I did. So you could take the square root of a number, I can't write like this. So I'm gonna go here. Let me go and turn this on again. Is class over with? Class is about over with. Hold on a second, people. I have to turn the whiteboard on and turn that on. Does it look like I'm using technology, or does it look like I'm using something put together by baling twine and duct tape? All right, variance, the square root of the number. You do that with your calculator. Or you can take the number and raise it to the 1/2 power. Or you can take that number and raise it to the 0.5 power. This is what I do. So when I do this in class, I don't want you to say, well, what's that? It's the square root. So I'm going to take 6.81. I'm sorry. I'm going to take that number and I'm going to raise it to the 0.5 power. That is your standard deviation. Now, I'm going to show you a trick of learning the war. These three numbers, that one, and that one. Can anybody tell me why I highlighted those green? Anybody?
Those are the most important ones to know.
That's one reason. They're the most important ones to know. Those are what I will test you on the most. Those three numbers right there, along with one more number, and that is, I'll highlight it a different color. That one. Now, why do I have those three numbers and that one number highlighted? Because that's what I will test you on. Okay? Now, anybody see anything with the green ones? What can you tell me? What kind of comes out at you with those three green numbers? Bash, I'll change that. It is bash, right? I'm gonna change that. I'm gonna change that to 52. What happened? They're not close anymore, are they, Miss Bash? So what can you draw out from the mean, median, and mid-range? The mean, write this down. This is very important. The mean, the median, and the mid-range are all measures of blank. Anybody know? Measures of blank. That's a test question. Not only on my test, but it's also a test question on standardized test question. The mean, median, and mid-range are all measures of blank.
Central tendency?
Nope, starts with a C. E. N. T. E. I have to spell it first because I say center and people think we're in church. Center. C-E-N-T-E-R. They're all measures of center. So if your numbers are real close together and are valid, what was that last number? 20 what? 25? What are those three numbers going to be? They're going to be close. They're going to be together. Think of three friends all together. But you add a little bit of animosity to the group, and it just blows them apart. See that? I can guarantee you some of you went through a whole year of probability and statistics and didn't even know that. And I'm going to show you a little bit more that you didn't know. There's a 25-cent word for standard deviation. And it's not a gambling term. Well, it is a gambling term, but Look where it is right now. What is your standard deviation with 65 being in the mix? It's 13.8. Let's change that 65 back to 25. Not only did your numbers line back up, your 3 green numbers, but what happened to the standard deviation? Did it increase or decrease? It decreased because your numbers are more valid. Your data right here is more valid. Now let's add a 11 here, and let's add a 62 here. What happened to your 3 green numbers? They're out of wampus. And for those of you that parents didn't teach you what out of wampus means, it means out of balance. You ever wash towels in the washing machine and the towels get on one side of the washing machine? Undo and undo, and look at there. You got 20, 20, 21, and you got 2.6. I have met students, you don't have to say anything, okay? I have met students that have been through a whole semester of probability statistics in high school. They never knew that. They never saw it. What is that called? It's called interpretation. What is your numbers telling you? Okay? Now, what did I just cover? I just covered a good portion of 3.1 through 3.3. Am I finished? No. Are we going to go over it again Wednesday? Yes. I'm going to go over another one, and this time it's going to be n is equal to 12 or 14. N is going to be a what? An even. I'm going to write that down, empirical rule, E-M-P-I-R-I-C-A-L, empirical. I'm going to go over the normal curve. Write that down, normal curve, because when you see it in the homework, I want you to skip it for right now. Okay, I'm going to go over the normal curve. I'm going to go over the 5-number summary and the box plots and the z-scores. So that's what's left in 3.4 and 3.5. Okay? Right now, everybody is responsible for 3.1 through 3.3 homework. Now that means that you should have a good portion of it done by Wednesday, or you should have some questions sent to me. Now, the only chapter 2 homework you should be working on is 2.3. Now, I did receive 1 question from this class, so I'm going to go over it right quick. It's not even mathematical. I don't know. I don't look at the names. I try not to look at the names because if I like you or don't like you, I won't go over it. Actually, it's this one right here. 2.1, number 3. It's like number 3 in the book.
Yeah, I asked that too.
And number 2. Okay? Relative frequency equals 1. Remember me telling you to always round your numbers to a decimal of, or decimal point of 100? What do decimal points all equal? Not 100%. Percentages equal 100%. Decimals equal what? 1. And that is an SAT question also. Okay? So that is a test question and it's an SAT question. All right, those of you that need to leave to go to another class, get out of here. And I will see y'all Wednesday virtually. And hopefully everything will work right. Quirky. I'm using the whiteboard and it automatically cuts off and goes to the, doesn't make any sense.
Have a good day.
Yeah, man, thank you. What's your last name?
Winston, W-I-N-T-O-N.
Winston, okay. Hold on just a second. Let me turn off the, you can go ahead. I got you.
I got a question.
All right, what's your question?
Well, I don't know how to get into my peers